Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the On-Air Advocate podcast, where we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. My name is Tammy Flynn, and I am your host as well as the producer of the On-Air Advocate, and I am absolutely so thankful and grateful that you've taken the time out of your evening or your day to hop on over to whatever social media application that you may be listening in on to hear what's going on for episode 9. So, for all of those who follow us on our other social media applications, like our Facebook and all the Facebook Lives we do, our YouTube channel, etc., you know that at the On Air Advocate, we pick a weekly focus and we stay on that topic and that subject, whether that is in the area of community support, education, empowerment, whatever that may be. And this week, we have taken the deep dive into DIPG, one of the rarest forms of brain cancer in children. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that with you guys in just a few minutes. But I thought with the rarity of that, it correlated so well with today being Wednesday, February 28th, which marks the 11th annual Rare Disease Day. And being a mom myself of a son that suffers from multiple rare medical conditions, I can tell you that it is a lifelong struggle because, as we know, we want to leave no stone unturned and we want to have answers. But unfortunately, in the case of rare diseases and rare medical conditions, we do the research, we try our best to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, but honestly, we are left with a lot of unanswered questions. And so this day was brought, to the forefront 11 years ago just to kind of embrace that. So just let me give you a little bit about it. When we talk about across the globe and everybody coming together to recognize this and honor this, a little bit of statistics here. So we have 350 million people worldwide who are collectively impacted by 7,000 different life-limiting and life-threatening rare diseases that have limited, if any, type of treatment options. And more than half of those are all children. Those are astronomical numbers. And for people to just embrace that there are so many people out there that are suffering that don't have those answers. Sometimes I think, we have all these conditions and we think that, doctors are like God and they just have the answers and researchers do, but there is so much research that still needs to be done and stones that need to be overturned to get some answers. And that's where we come into things like DIPG. So DIPG being one of the rarest forms of brain cancer, I have learned within doing my research that only 4% of all cancer funding goes towards the cause, the cure, and the treatment research. And we have over 350 cases of this that affect children across the globe each and every year. So as we embrace this 11th annual Rare Disease Day, I just ask all of you to just take in and just think about if this was your loved one. This day was created to build awareness and hope, and hopefully knowledge that there are so many stones that still need to be overturned, that there are so many diagnoses and diseases that we need more research on, more research dollars to find answers. So that is what leads me to this week's weekly focus, which is DIPG. And I have to tell you that this is very heavy on my heart and definitely brings me to a space of frustration as well as excitement for possibly being able to shed some light and bring higher levels of awareness. Like I said earlier, to know that only 4% of all cancer funding is going towards something that ultimately is robbing these children of their life. And when I tell you how that takes place, you will understand with me that heartache that I feel for these families and for these children. Now, to start with, let me give you a little bit of background about DIPG and why it is one of the only brain cancers in children that is inoperable. It is also incurable, and it has less than a 1% survival rate. Now, the reason being that it is inoperable is because of the placing of the tumor that sits on the stem of the brain near the base of the skull, which is near that pons area, and trying to go in to do any type of a biopsy would place an extreme risk on the patient. Now, they've also found that chemotherapy has not been very effective with DIPG. In addition to that, they've tried radiation treatment, steroids. That does sometimes slow the growth of the tumor, but it has never eliminated the tumor. But what is the most horrific that I feel about DIPG is the fact that it steals and robs the child of all of their regular functionability, from their loss of their voice to their sight, their ability to eat and breathe, but it leaves them with all of their cognitive abilities of knowing everything that goes on. And I am sorry, but I just have to say that that absolutely breaks my heart and brings me to tears to think that these children, and I mean, in the average age of kids having this is between 6 and 7 years old in age. You know, it can range up to, I think the oldest person on marking was like 32 years old, and it can range all the way down to as little as 2 years old. But it is very much in that elementary level, age grouping that this happens. And 90% of the kids, that kind of that median, survival time frame is from the onset with treatment is only 9 months. Sometimes you have a maximum of 2 years, and in less than 1% of cases, you might have 5 years. But can you even imagine? And that is what brings me to our amazing story that we are going to have on our Facebook Live. I will also be uploading it to our podcast on Friday, as to how I even learned about DIPG. I was scrolling through my social media feed. One of my friends had shared a story about her godson, an athletic young tween turning teen basketball player. He was experiencing some dizziness. His mom took him to the ER and to the doctor, just like any of us moms and dads would. They did some imaging and found out that he has this brain tumor sitting on the stem, and it is DIPG, and he may only have 5 months to 9 months to 2 years to live. And then to know as a parent, could you even imagine that conversation? I take myself back to when my son's spine started collapsing, and it was so rare in the United States. There's less than 3% of children that ever experience a level of kyphosis that he had. And I remember the doctor talking to me, and it was compromising his lung capacity and all of this. And the surgery, though, because of my son's other multiple medical conditions, was very life-threatening. Now, that is not somebody telling me that he has 5 months to live. That's telling me that undergoing the surgery is very life-threatening. And I just remember, I didn't sleep for months. I was on a mission to make sure that every single stone that needed to be overturned was overturned. Every single thing that we could do to make sure that he was medically safe was done. Can you imagine, as a parent, taking your healthy child after playing a sporting event to the ER, having some imaging, and someone telling you that they may only have 5 months to live and they're 12 or 13 years old? I just was beside myself as I read that. And so I started to do my own research. I started to pull records from our medical colleges and whatnot here and the research that's being done. And all I know with DIPG is we can do better. It's still 10 out of every 100 brain tumors in kids is DIPG. And almost always, you know what I'm saying, the DIPG ends up fatal where there is no resolution to it. And I just know in this day and age that we can give more precedence and we can build more awareness. And that was the other thing that I found absolutely positively shocking about this DIPG. I am at the hospital with my child 3 days a week. Now, granted, we do not see neurology 3 days a week, and we do not see our cancer center, our oncology center 3 days a week, because that is not something that my son is affected with. But I am around doctors more than most people at a very, very, I guess I'd say, about 80% of the time. And by myself asking from pharmacists to doctors to natural doctors, all of that, no one has heard of DIPG. And I just sat back and thought to myself, really? For something that is this horrific, that rips and robs these children of their lives and does it in such a horrible manner, I cannot believe that we have not built more awareness around this. Where is the campaign? Where is it out there? So I hope that all of you tune in this Friday. You check out my YouTube channel. I will upload it to that. I will be on Facebook Live. I will also turn it into a podcast. Well, I interview and have time with this mother who is facing this right now. And what I found so remarkable about my conversations with her is that she just wants to find answers, not only for her son, but for the other children that are out there experiencing this. As she has dove into this to try to find research and gather knowledge, it is so brave at a time like this that she would be compelled and so forward enough to be able to be on an interview with me to share her journey right now while she and her family is going through this pain. And I think that it is the most noble, brave thing that really I've had someone honor me with doing. And I told her, I said, you know what? It is us that are affected by these rare diseases and these rare syndromes that come up that need to be the voice, that need to be the change, that need to speak out to build awareness. And if it is not for our kids that we get the answers for, hopefully we will get the answers for years to come, for the next generations, for other people's children and grandchildren and brothers and sisters. So that is a little bit about DIPG. I want you all to continue the rest of this evening on February 28th, celebrating the 11th Annual Rare Disease Day. And I look forward to hopefully having you all tune in this Friday. We are going to be chatting. If you don't catch it, there will be the replay. And like I said, it will be on all of our social media applications. Make sure that you also subscribe, because then you will get notified when something is new and it comes out, and it will be right in your feed. So I thank you so much for taking these only 13 minutes. You know that I usually take like an hour. So this is a short one, and I'm jumping on another radio show right after this. So I just wanted to get on. I wanted to really just share all of this with you, and looking forward to you guys tuning in at the end of the week. Again, you can go to onairadvocate.com and find all of our social media links, as well as all of our podcasts, and be able to subscribe right there. Thanks again, everyone. Cherish your family, cherish your children, give everyone hugs, and know that our health is our wealth. That is what it is. And you would never want that to be robbed from any of your loved ones. So let's continue to build awareness, to give funds back to research, and to make a difference. God bless everybody, and have a fabulous night.